In today's feature match, we're going to be putting up the best of the best red-white blocker ping out of GDO3, seeing which one's going to come out on top between the Providence and the Sinanju. Let's jump into it.
What's going on, YouTube? This is D Riggedy Wreck here with Argo. As always, if you enjoyed today's feature match, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for future content. And again, jumping into today's match there, on the right, piloted by myself, is that red-white Providence blockers list there, running it with the Providence and the Legao, as well as some of the ZAFT pilots there, especially the new Rally Crusade out of GDO3 there. And then on the left, piloted by our local buddy Krim, he's going to be running it with the more, I guess, Xeon variant of red-white blocker ping. Running it with the Shinanju there, as well as the full frontal there, and then the Athrun to go with the Justice. So we're going to be seeing who can kind of hit stride more in this match today, whether or not I can get more of my ping engine off, or if Krim's going to have the edge for the better part of the game there. They're dumping the Sinanju off of the overflowing affection. So we get a chance to see more of what the deck's going to be throwing at us, getting into the mid to late game there. He's going to start off with the Gundam Frith. Still a very solid blocker in this meta, having that 4 HP. Allows us to play around cards like Improved Technique. Yeah, throw down 4 just to double close combat it to get rid of it there. Not too great of a trade, unfortunately. Just makes for a really solid blocker with that 2/4 stat line. And speaking of Improved Technique, Krim's going to throw down that to take out the Rick DS we played there that last turn there. In that nice rare plus artwork there. Very, very nice artwork. A lot of the prices out of GDO3 have started to resurge there. I know that we've seen a bit of restocking going on there, so a little bit of a bummer to see some of those prices jump back up. Although the base rarity cards there aren't too bad. I've been seeing a lot of that stay about half price from when the set launched there. So definitely a lot more low barrier entry to get into the game now as compared to the last 2 sets there. We're going to round the turn off with a Legao and the Rick DS there. Nothing, again, to take out that Frith to positively trade, so can't really throw anything too big its way. We're missing that Rally Crusade getting into turn 4. We'd like to see that on Legao to be able to snipe and then take out EX base, but we don't have it in this situation, unfortunately. Krim's going to start off his turn 4 with another Overflowing Affection in that nice Common Plus artwork from GDO1. And that's 2, I believe, so. It's got a pretty penny throwing down there on the board. The nice alt-arts there, plus that G-Fred plus resource, very nice. And, ooh, blinged out deck right here with that Common Plus Vesalius. He's going to follow that up with the Launcher Strike. Another really solid stat line there for the 4-3, having a 3-4 with the blocker keyword, making it really solid. And a good positive trade against some of the 2-drop blockers that we see in this current meta list here. So playing a little bit on the back foot right now, we really need to see that Rally Crusade or something else to allow us to contend a little bit with the stat line on Krim's board right now. But we're going to see how we play out getting into turn 5 here. We'll start with an Overflowing Affection of our own. Really trying to dig and cycle for utility right now. And it's a little bit of a finicky matchup there. I think that in this current meta, Krim's list is generally more consistent than mine. Playing more heavily into the blocker engine there. I don't know if he's running Kira in this list as like a 2 or a 3 of, but between that and then the Launcher Strike being a linkable trait with the Earth Alliance there makes it a bit easy to justify throwing Kira in, and then just generically being a good pilot to reduce AP on attack is just too good. Now this was a little bit of an interesting play. I'm not entirely sure why I went about it this way, but we threw the close combat at the Launcher Strike, and I'm not sure if I was trying to bait him into blocking with it anyway, but it's a little bit of an expensive play to justify trading into it and then still taking the damage on the Legao. Even with the snipe, in either situation, the Legao would have been enough to take out either of them between the pilot and then the Vesalius there to give it up to 4 AP. So there was a little bit of a misplay on my part. Could have saved that close combat for a later instance there, and then this would have been another good example of a useful moment there. having that Shinanju on board is going to be a very big threat, especially for a blocker mirror. Having high maneuver is just too good. Plus that 7-6 stat line is just too good to get around there, and we don't have the number of improved techniques in the trash to be able to just target it freely. We're still restricted to just level 4 or lower if we do. I think we have one copy of improved technique in hand at the moment. And he's still sitting up with the Elfrith there. That's been sitting on since turn 2 essentially there, so that 4 HP stat line's presenting itself as a pretty big threat, just to prevent me from doing any real meaningful swings. We're gonna throw down another Rick Diaz, and then Ale Strike Gundam to round off our blocker line, and that'll be the end of our turn 6. Nothing too crazy in terms of moves, and again, that Shinanju with the high maneuver is just too strong in this instance for us to really contend with. We do need those ping cards there to get rid of it. Unfortunately, we're just not in a situation where we can benefit from that. And then, with the 2 damage from the Shinanju as well as that close combat, he does take out our Ale Strike and rounds that off with a Striker Pack. Gonna go into the Launcher Strike there. Another, again, really annoying, unfortunately, stat line to contend with there. That 2-4 stat line is just a little bit too problematic for us to deal with just standard ping tactics. But this is the other list that we've been seeing top more frequently there. The Justice Blocker playing the Shinanju there for the late game push and being able to play around blockers while also having a really solid blocker line to contend in a mirror match situation. We're going to throw down a Providence, and we do have the Rowla Crusade to throw it on, and then we're going to get back the Yakin Due there, or as our local friends like to call it there, the Jack and Do. We're going to throw the 3 AP onto the Providence there, getting up to 12 AP with its own passive plus 2 AP, as well as the pilot, giving it an additional 2 AP there. It's going to allow us to burn for 3. Now, in this instance, it would be more meaningful to throw the 3 damage on the full frontal. And this is an instance where the misplay gets into more and more problematic scenarios here. We put the 3 damage on the Elfrith there, and I think playing this match back a little bit there, the 3 damage would have been better suited for the Shinanju. It would have made it more meaningful to trade rather than to block here with either the Elfrith or the Launcher Strike if he decides to do so. And he is going to block with the Elfrith there. We're going to take the 2 damage back, but it does save his Shinanju with full HP rather than the 3 HP burn that we could have put on it, unfortunately. But now we're getting into Crim's turn 7 here. And he is going to swing at base, again with high maneuver. Again, really problematic for a blocker mirror match. Having high maneuver is just really good. It also goes for a matchup like green-red Zeon, Neo Zeon. Having high maneuver with the Char Aznable is just really good to throw on, whether that's the Gelgoog there or either variant of the Zaku 2. He's going to throw down a Justice, and that's going to give him the Fatum 00 there, giving him 2 units off that whole play. And he does have the Atherin to throw on the Justice there, giving it a really solid HP stat line. He's going to swing into a Rick Diaz to snipe it, and it's going to deal 3 damage back to the Justice. He's going to attempt to throw 2 damage at the Providence with the Fatum. We are going to block with the Rick Diaz there. And then he is going to throw the Launcher Strike at the Providence to deal the remaining 2 damage to it. It's going to clear our board pretty effectively there. And again, the scenario is just making more meaningful plays. Unfortunately, I think that we just weren't in a good situation to push more aggressively and take out that Sinanju there. Although I think that, again, that's still what we should have done in that instance there, to clear board and then be able to bring the match back a little bit more, because we do have a bit more in terms of hand advantage than him at this stage, but his board setup is just still too strong compared to ours. We do throw down a Justice of our own and get a Fatum double low to go with it, and we have the Athrun as well. So it really comes down to what we're going to swing into here to take it out. In this instance, I think the most ideal scenario would be to throw the Justice at the Sinanju just to clear it out, even trade, and then the other two, either the Rick Diaz in this instance, actually wouldn't be enough because that has 7 HP, so we would need a way to deal 4 damage to the Justice to take it out. So we are going to trade here with the Justice against his Sinanju. We're going to pay the 1 to throw down the Vesalius. That's going to give us the extra HP we need, or AP we need, to take out the Justice. Unfortunately, that only leaves us with a 2-2 Fatum. It's not going to be able to break EX base here to turn the game around a little bit. So we do pass with the 2-2 blocker standing there. Ooh, but in classic turn 8 fashion, we do see the Omega Psi Commu come out, dealing 3 damage and taking out that Fatum there. A little unfortunate. But now we're playing a bit on the back foot because now he has that Omega Psi Commu out. It's a really solid stat line with the suppression. It's just insanely powerful at this stage in the game. And again, we're still sitting on, I believe, the improved technique. We don't have a way to use it because we're still missing the 2 in the trash to be able to target anything not just level 4 or lower. So we throw down a Rick Diaz with the Athrun to give it a solid HP stat line. That'll be the end of our turn 9, I believe we're at right now. And he does pay 7 once again. Unfortunate. He's going to throw down another Omega Psi Commu to ping the Rick Diaz for 3. And then with the remaining 2, he's going to close combat. That does clear our board, and they're right just in a clean 2-card combo. And that rounds off his turn 9, getting into our turn 10. I don't think we have anything super meaningful to throw down with only 3 cards in hand. I see the improved technique there at a glance. Fortunately, that's a pretty useless card in this instance. We throw a close combat down. Unfortunately, it's pretty all for naught, unfortunately. Unless we double check something in shield to save us and maybe take out one of the 2. We do not. Only the pilot, and then he swings the Omega for game. Thanks again for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed today's feature match, again, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you're looking forward to in this current meta there. We're still in the middle of new type challenge season, so if you guys have had any real interesting matchups beyond just the Blurple and the blockers there, leave a comment down below about what your meta has been looking like or what your locals have been looking like there. Definitely looking forward to doing more testing as time goes on there with GDO 3 out and then GDO 4 upcoming there. So stay tuned for more deck profiles as they come along. But until the next video, guys, take care.